Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
Good.
Very good. So, guys, we do have an exam tomorrow. And after we wrap up our lesson today, we'll give you a little bit of time to ask questions. After we wrap up our lesson today, I will upload it and you will be able to see it. And you'll get plenty of chance to ask me questions after we do a few things that I plan on doing. However, if you have any questions, you can ask them right away. Not a problem. I think we are being recorded. I know I was quiet for the first 5 minutes because it's just 9:35 now. And if I saved it from last class, did up to 30. So that's what we did. And here's what I was thinking, that we will wrap up this section and this will be the cutoff point. There's not a lot left. This will be the cutoff point for the exam tomorrow. We technically, we should have time to do the next section, but I'm not going to cram it in because you're probably preparing for your exam. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, good. And if you guys want to do new work, like, no, let's do it, I will be happy to do it. I have my notes. So let's start, guys. Do a few problems.
Oh, quick
Go ahead.
question.
I'm listening. Yes.
So tomorrow is when the exam opens at 8, like you said, and then it won't close till 8 tomorrow, right?
That's correct. And you will get 90 minutes to take it once you start. You have a 1-day window starting exactly what you just said, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning till 8 o'clock the next day. And I would encourage you not to wait till the last minute. And I'm not just talking to Jack, I'm talking to everybody. Why? We will not meet in class tomorrow, but we are meeting day after tomorrow. Don't be taking the test right before the exam, you'll be exhausted. So just a tip for everyone. Did I answer your question, Jack?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Okay, wonderful. So how was your break, guys? Anybody wants to share? Did they have a good break?
Yeah, it was relaxing.
Good, good. Who else? I know I can barely see you guys, but you can always turn on your video if you want to, but you don't have to. It's not a requirement. Anybody else wants to say how was their break?
It was all right.
Good, good. Wonderful, guys. So let's start, do a little bit of, so here is what my thinking is. I'm going to do some of the problems from this section, and then I'm going to let you ask me some questions. I'm not going to rush through chapter 5, the next one. I think we're working on P5. That'll be the cutoff point. I'm going to go to my Blaze view page. In front of you, I'll clearly say P6 is not there. We haven't done P6. I didn't assign. And then you can ask me some generic questions. And you can ask me, of course, do that. Can you explain that again? That's totally fine. So guys, again, take a look. Factor each trinomial or state that the trinomial is prime. Trinomial, tri means 3. Basically, it has 3 components. I'm not going to give you anything that's prime, just to let you know. I'll give you things that can be factorized. There are a few that cannot be. I won't give you. Okay, I won't give you those. So I'll show you one. For instance, I was working on this one. I don't think you can factorize this. I don't think you can factorize this. Okay, try it. You won't be able to split it. 6 times 6 is 36. And 36, you can take 36, do whatever you want. You're not going to get 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 cannot be adjusted to subtract or add and to get 7. So when you try some of these at home, you try and you exhaust all the options, then you say it's prime. I'm not going to sit here and exhaust all the options. If you want, I can, but I'm going to do a couple more where things do get factorized. I'm going to start with one. Let's try this one. This one is 60. I seriously doubt this can be factorized, but 6. This one actually works. Let's try this one. Basically, we have done some of this, but I will do it anyway, just one. Okay. And again, if anybody wants to unmute himself or herself, totally fine. Anytime when you try to unmute yourself, I can almost get a little buzz here.
This is P5.
This is P5, continuing P5. Last class, before our break, we worked on problems up to 30. And this is past 30. We're going to do, this is really something we did, but I'll do it again just for fun. So the rule is you're going to multiply 4 by 9. You're going to get 36. See, okay, 36. I don't think that's, okay. So 36 is what I'm getting. And 36, oh yeah, it might work. 36 can be split. I'm going to try this. 4 times 9 is 36. And let's put equal sign here. Okay. And that's what my goal is. All right. So I'm going to erase this. I'm going to rewrite it actually using, you don't have to know this, but I was using Zoom. I prefer this thing. So I multiply 4 by 9, I get 36. And clearly 4 by 9 is 36. You can also write, and from 9, I can subtract 4 to get 5. That's a good match. Of course, 36 is also 18 times 2, but 18 and 2 cannot be added or subtracted to get 5. So I'm going to stick to this, okay? And excuse me, what would I do here? I'm going to write 9x squared. Instead of 5x, let me change the color. Instead of 5x, I am going to write 9x minus 4x.
4x.
Yes, thank you. 4x. Yes, coming from here, I have to be careful about the sign. Okay. If it was negative 5x, I would be writing negative 9x plus 4x minus 4. So far, so good. And let me do one more thing. Okay. I just want you to see that 5x is being replaced with 9x minus 4x. And now I'm going to factor, it's called factoring things out. I'm going to factor out 9x from here, and I'm going to do it in green. 9x is pulled out. What's left inside? X and a 1. Okay, I'm going to change the color again. And from this piece, the second 2 pieces, I'm going to factor out only a negative 4. Only a negative 4. And you have to be careful about the sign. The negative 4 is factored out. You're left with x plus 1. And you do want these 2 terms to match. That's a good sign. You're going to factor out this further. Basically, it's now you're factoring out x plus 1, and you're going to get, you're factoring out what I underlined by my purple pen. I'm going to get 9x minus 4. Now, if you want to test, you can do foiling. If you foil the answer, you should get this. I can already see that I will get it. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. 9x times x is 9x squared. And 9x times 1 is 9x. And minus 4x is 5x. So I know my answer is correct. I'm going to pause it a little bit to see if you have any questions. So this is roughly what we did last class. Again, I know I'm repeating myself. I'm not going to give you anything that's a prime. Prime means something that cannot be factorized, cannot be separated as a product, okay? So just because you can't do it, don't just write prime, okay? I'm giving you a little bit of hint. I'm going to give you things that can be factorized, but you should know if you cannot factorize something, we just say this is a prime. Try some of the ones I said cannot be factorized. I was looking at them. You couldn't. Try everything. You know, if you had 36 and you didn't have 5x, you would try 18 and 2, 36 and 1. If you don't get it, you're not going to be able to do it. So again, this won't work. How about this group? Okay, this is a good group. Okay, so guys, before we jump into this section, it's a little hard, so bear with me a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do a handful of them. Okay. I'm going to go over something we have discussed. So it's nothing new, excuse me. It's nothing new, but I think we should mention it here or review it here. So we have seen, and this is something you really want to remember, A minus B times A plus B. I think it's in P4. If you FOIL, you're going to get A squared for the first terms. And in the middle, you're going to get inside and outside. The outside term will be, and it really doesn't matter which one you write first, as long as you write them They cancel. The two middle terms cancel. So your answer is a square. And I'm sorry, guys, here I made a mistake. So it'll be minus. The reason it'll be minus because minus b times plus b is minus. That's why. And my answer is going to be a square minus b squared. Once again, okay? Whenever you see a minus b times a plus b, you should be able to connect it to this. If it's x minus y, you should be able to do something like this. If I give you x minus y times x plus y, you should be able to see, oh, that's what he's talking about, or that's what the book is talking about. Not the other way around, not y squared minus x squared. This and this is a minus, this is not a plus, and you have to see it. This formula, if you can call it a formula, it's really FOIL. You can find it out on your own. There's not a whole lot going on. This formula should be on the surface of your mind or brain. Okay, so we're going to use this. So let's grab a problem now. It does get a little challenging, but I don't think it's that bad. So we're going to start with something simple. Okay, we're going to do 40. I tend to do problems there. I think the answers are not given in your book and all that. You should practice some of these. And of course, you should practice the problems that I have assigned on Blaze View up to P5. And again, you want to make sure you have done, it's a very good practice. You have done all the problems I assigned on MATLAB. Blaze View MATLAB, that's a very good practice. Okay, so I don't see x squared minus y squared, but I can turn it into that as follows. I do know that 144 is really 12 squared. Okay, you should kind of know up to 13 square. And you know, if you're like x squared minus something, and it would be nice if this was something squared, well, it really is. So I'm going to write it like this. You can put parentheses, but you don't have to. Now I have x squared minus y squared. I have that format, a squared minus b squared or x squared minus y squared. Doesn't matter how you remember it, right? So it will be x minus 12 times x plus 12. Does it matter which one you write first? Not really. That's your answer. That's how you're going to factorize. Done. Okay, guys. Again, you can always ask me to slow down. So can you go over it again? All those things are completely acceptable. Let me try 42. All right, so again, what we are learning here is that it would be nice to know some of the basic squares. 1 square is 1, 2 squares 2, 3 squares 3, 4 squares, 3 squares 9. Let's try it again. 1 square is 1, 2 squares 4, 3 squares 9, and 4 squares 16, 5 squares 24. And if you forget, I probably know up to 12. 13, I know 13 squares 169. So I can see some squares here. Okay, it's not so clean cut. I am not going to be able to do much with this 64. However, I can write it as 8x square. This square here, this 2 belongs to 8, and that's why we have 64. So I'm not off. I didn't make a mistake. I can check. 81 is 9 squared. Now I have a nice formula where this is my A. I'm going to write it here. And this is my B. It's in that format. A squared minus B squared. It's in that format where A happens to be something a little more complex, 8x, and B happens to be not so bad, 9. So Give me 1 second, okay? So let me make it all black. And the red stuff is scratch work. It's for us to understand. 8. So again, a square minus b square. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to write a plus b times a minus b. Done. Do you have to do the red stuff? Not really, but you really want to understand what it is that we are doing. And you have to recognize if it is a square minus b square, if the expression is in a square minus b square format, you really have to recognize it. And while we are talking about it, this cannot be factorized, okay? This cannot, you can't do anything with it. You have to leave it alone. Not that I'm going to give you a bunch of these. So don't see this and say, oh yeah, that's a minus b times a plus b. It cannot be factorized, but this can be. Okay, a little bit of a side note here. So it gets a little more challenging. They replace 2 with 4, but it works very similarly. Let's do one of those. Let's try this one. You should be able to do 44. Let's try x to the power 4 minus 1 to the power 4. It doesn't say 1 to the power 4, but we're going to make this assumption. Any questions on this slide before I let it go? I can save all the slides except for my.
You're good.
Go ahead. You're good. Thank you, Jack.
I said you're good.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, you can always say, hey, wait, I can do it, but I don't want to open too many windows. If I do, it kind of, what does it do? It crashes. Anyway, so guys, let's work on this, okay? Now you might say, well, we don't have a formula. We don't have a direct formula for x to the power 4 minus y to the power 4.
Yes, but it's an even number, so you can break it evenly.
Exactly, exactly. We're going to use the formula that we just kind of know. So let's try it this way. Now, I am going to write it like this. X to the power 2 squared. That is x to the power 4. It looks different, but it's really the same. Minus, instead of 1, I'm going to write 1 square. Okay, that's much better. It's in that format, a square minus b squared, where I'm going to write it here on the side again. It's just for people who are going to watch the video later, or for your understanding. I'm going to say a is a is x squared and b is 1. So, well, we know how to do that. X squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1. Remember a second ago, I said there's nothing you can do with it. Okay, leave this guy alone. Okay, there's not much you can do. It's going to stay here. Now, this can be broken down further. The green, I'm just going to say green. That means the green underlined expression. Okay, the green underlined expression can be broken down further, exactly the way you did. I'm going to write it here. X squared. Instead of 1, I can write 1 square. Of course, you don't have to. Most of you will do it in your head. And I'm copying the red stuff here. Not much I can do with it. Going back to my green. Okay, green is more interesting. I have to do it further. So x squared minus 1 square, just like before. X minus 1 times x plus 1. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, if you leave this on the exam up to here, I won't be able to give you points. Okay, you have to give me this much. Now, the order in which you write the answer is immaterial. All right, if you want to write this first, be my guest. If you want to write this in the middle, be my guest. Nobody cares. But I want to see all of them. However, if you write this, I won't be able to give you points. Be aware of that. And I know you guys will take the exam tomorrow. You will be able to write it nicely. Okay, look at the video before the video that was recorded on Thursday. I don't remember the date, but I can tell you. Those of you who missed that class, if you did, Thursday.
Wait, Professor, I just want to ask one question. How'd you get the -1 squared?
Okay, sure. Look, 1 can always be written as 1 squared. Because
Okay,
it would be nice if I had a square, but I can make it a square because 1 is 1 times 1. Does
so
that-
why isn't the middle part good enough? Why do we have to bring it all the way down to that?
Tell me this, are you talking about by middle part, you mean this?
Yes, that.
Okay, okay. When we factorize something, we have to factorize it completely. Okay. Now, somebody would say this is not complete because you can split it further into this. That's why.
Okay, all right.
You see what I'm trying to
So
suggest?
because 1 is the factor, or if an even number was the factor,
Mhm.
well, actually, is it only 1 gets the squared on it?
If I am understanding your question right, look, the way I see this problem, the x squared is already here, okay? And 1, this minus sign tells me if I can put it in the format x squared minus 1 square, I will be able to factorize it further. So I choose to put a 2 here. Because I'm going for, let me write it nicely. I'm going for this. I'm going for this. I'm looking for something that resembles this. Now, I'm not going to worry about the red one because I don't have a minus. I have a plus. So I'm going to leave it alone. There's nothing I can do with it. But with this guy, let me erase my writing and circle it again. This guy can be broken down further. And to break it down, I'm going to replace 1 with 1 square. It looks now more like this. So I have 3 terms as my answer, not 2. Does that answer your question, Jack?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else has a question? I'm going to erase this because this is just for the explanation. It's not a part of the problem. And this is, we're going to do a few more, okay, like this. And you're going to see some of these problems tomorrow. Okay, let's try one more. And when we do more, I think we'll have more questions and all those things. Let's try this one. Excuse me. 48. Okay, 81 times 4 to the 4. Now we have learned that 4 to the 4 minus 1 to the 4 is our friend. 4 to the x to the 2 minus 1 to the 2 is our friend, the same friend really. Now 81, I'm going to write here. Okay, you're really asking this. What number raised to the power 4 is 81? If there is such a number, it will help you. So I am going to think 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 9 is 81. So 3 is a good choice. Some fancy calculators will let you do it. Sure, if you have one, but you don't need it. So you have to say 9 times 9 is 81, but 9 is 3 times 3. So basically you're claiming this. And that's true. And that's going to help us. So I'm going to write, instead of 81, I'm going to write 3x to the power 4. Remember, guys, minus 1. I'm going to for now write it like this, okay? So be a little patient. Actually, now that doesn't help too much. It's okay that I wrote it. It's not wrong. But what would be better would be this. 9x square whole square minus 1 square. Remember? Now let me erase this. This is correct. I didn't write anything incorrect, but I do need the room. So my first goal when I see 4, my first goal is to write the expression as x squared minus y squared, or if you like, a squared minus b squared. And the best way to do it is 9x squared, whole thing squared. Why? Now double check. This square and this square, they make it x to the power 4. Okay. 9 squared is 81. Okay, that's cool too. Not a problem. Now, remember a square minus b square is simply a minus b times, well, let's do one thing. Let's do the plus one first. Okay. A plus b, it doesn't matter which one you write first. Really doesn't matter. I'll tell you why I did that. Now, I am done with this piece. This component is, I'm okay with it. However, I can split or factorize the second component further. How so? Well, let's find out. Again, I'm going to rewrite it. That's that. Now, very carefully, I'm going to do it again. Some of you will do it in your head. I'm going to write this green component as follows. 3x squared minus 1 squared. I prefer this. Now, ideally, I should put square brackets. I don't think anybody cares too much. All right, almost there. Going back to my black part. Okay, very carefully back to green. What happens to the green part? A square minus b square. A square minus b square. And a happens to be 3x, b happens to be 1. So what happens here is 3x plus 1, 3x minus 1. And again, your answer has 3 parts. This is your answer. This is incomplete. I'm going to pause here a little bit, okay? Any questions? Let's see what's going on. I'm going to do this one is really not that bad, but I'll do 1 or 2. There's nothing going on. This is the hardest section, okay? And here is what I'm thinking, guys. Of course, this slide is not going to go away. It'll be here. My session is saying it's going to shut me down any moment. I probably have 3 or 4 minutes. Let's get out of here. I'm going to do a couple of problems. I'm going to give you one problem like this to try in class. You will see it on the exam, so that's not a bad thing. So let's come back. Let's get out of this session, come back really quickly using the same link. I'll see you really soon. All right, guys.